Hello everyone, this is Sniper here. Welcome back to another video. So today we decided to do something different. So today I am doing r/entitled parents. So this story is about, well, it's pretty much just called Parents Decided to Cancel My 14th Birthday Party to Accommodate My Spoiled Younger Brother. Reinstated it when I told everyone at school. Alright. I'm 20 Mel, and this happened when I was 14. I have a brother that's about 6 years younger than me, and he was extra coddled by my parents for having been diagnosed with high-functioning autism when he was 4. But other than that, he seems very normal, just unbelievably spoiled, and he used to get his way a lot, and by a lot, I mean nearly all the time. Anything I had, he also had to have. So that meant we had doubles of almost everything that wasn't shared items. And anything he had that I didn't, he'd rub in my face any way he could. When I was 11, I begged my parents for a 3DS for my 12th birthday. I got one, but then was told to lend it to my brother whenever he wanted it, or else I'd have it taken away, which it was a lot. When my aunt found out after seeing my parents forcibly take my 3DS out of my hands to give to my brother on one of her visits, she let loose on them for such blatant favoritism. They returned my 3DS immediately, then blamed me for the situation after my aunt left. But they didn't make me give it to my brother again. Instead, my parents went out a few days later and bought another 3DS as a surprise gift for my brother. On several of mine and other people's birthdays, my brother made a huge fuss because the party wasn't all about him, even going so far as to outright state that he was upset because he wasn't getting any gifts or getting to blow out the candles on the cake. My parents learned the hard way that they couldn't enable my brother the way they'd have, like, at those parties. Were actually kicked out of a few for trying, and because of that, other kids at his school stopped inviting him to birthday parties altogether. For me, my birthdays were some of the only days I had that I got to have about me, because otherwise my parents forced my life to revolve around my little brother. And the year prior to when this story took place, my parents ended up paying more attention to him the entire time of my 13th birthday, and even asked me if I'd let my brother blow out my candles. For me, because he was upset and pouting, I refused that because I wanted to blow out my own candles. They called me a spoiled brat at first, till my aunt intervened and chastised them on their favoritism yet again, and stated how much she had noticed how my brother gets nearly everything between the two of us, just because he's autistic. My parents got no support from anyone else other than my brother, who was still crying because he wasn't getting to blow out my candles, and because he didn't get his way, he tried to outright spit on my cake out of spite, but my awesome aunt thankfully blocked him before he got the chance, then scolded him till he ran to my mom in tears. My parents took a lot of heat from other adults there, and then promised to never ask me to let my brother blow out my candles again. But they pretty much just went through the motions for the rest of the party. My aunt pretty much took over coordinating everything from that point. The following year, a couple of weeks before my birthday, my parents sat me down and told me that they were still going to get me some gifts and a small cake, but my birthday party was effectively canceled to avoid my brother having another meltdown. I told them I couldn't believe they were doing this to me, and they just seemed to shrug it off without a care. So at school over the next week, I told my friends, my teachers, and even my school counselor. All of them were appalled by my parents' lack of consideration or empathy. The vice principal even found out and consoled me, and all of this got back to my parents through social media. My parents ended up grounding and gaslighting me for telling so many people. That didn't stop me from still telling everyone at school that I was grounded for just being upset my birthday was canceled for no good reason. I guess that made it a lot worse because several of my parents' own friends, along with parents to other kids in my school, called them up or sent them Facebook messages basically saying, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And suddenly I was ungrounded. I didn't get an apology either. My dad just walked into my room with his arms crossed, told me my grounding was over early, and then walked out. That was it. I thought my party was still canceled because nobody said anything about it, and my brother thought it hilarious and rubbed it in my face that I wasn't going to get it to celebrate. But by the end of the 2 weeks, my parents held a surprise party for me at my favorite restaurant, and then started claiming that was their intent all along. I knew it wasn't. From what I've seen, everyone was incredibly unhappy with them for what they did. and it showed with any interactions family members had with my parents, so they ended up doing the surprise party to try and save what little of their reputations they had left. But I'm pretty sure that they had to pay through the nose that day to just accommodate me. I got dinner with game systems. I'd been Jonasing for at the time. I could tell it was all pretty much planned and bought last minute because my dad had a look about him that my aunt comically described as looking like a moth had flown out of his wallet. My brother, of course, made a huge fuss that I got that surprise party, but with so many of my friends and their parents there, my mom and dad finally put their feet down on my brother to stop his tantrum. When he wanted to push my cake off the table, my brother ended up getting a timeout for the first time since he was a toddler, and my mom had to stay with him to make sure he didn't do anything crazy. And he did try several times to run to the cake or stack of presents. Who knows what he would have done were it not for the fact at least one adult was always on guard. Even my dad stood guard to keep him away. My mom ended up having to remove my brother and herself from the party entirely and took my little bro to McDonald's nearby so he could have fun in the play area. And I heard later she spent at least an hour trying to get him to come out of the place tube structure, and he only did so because he had to use the bathroom, then tried to run right back in again. My parents never tried to cancel my birthday again while still I lived with them, though they never again tried as hard or spent as much. For the remaining 4 years I was under their roof. My birthday parties consisted of local pizza parlor, a cake without even my name written on it, and never again anything as expensive as a new gaming system. I don't mean to sound spoiled, but I was a bit disappointed. I never got a cake with my name on it again. My aunt called my parents out on that each year, and each year they claimed they forgot to get the cake decorated. I'm pretty sure that the reason my name was never written on another cake was because my brother always refused to eat pieces of cake that had writing on of someone else's name on at any party. They couldn't put his name on any of my cakes, or it would have looked very bad for them. But the fact that it still got a day that was just about me at all, and not my brother, was still fantastic in my book. Especially because just about everything has revolved around him. During each of my remaining birthday parties while still living at home, my brother made a fuss and my mom took him somewhere else to calm him down. I was still required to share my PS4 with my brother, but it was still mine. And I took it with me when I moved out at 18. Little bro did not like that and had a huge fit till my parents went out and bought him another PS4 for him. When I moved out, they finally had to deal with how they'd raise my brother so spoiled because I wasn't there to help them with him anymore. On our recent 14th birthday, he went mental on our parents for not getting him a PS5. He is now currently grounded for I don't know how long after causing hundreds or maybe even thousands in collateral damage during his rampage. He picked up a chair and just started destroying anything that was in front of him with it. And my parents just looked mentally checked out when I saw them last. Ma has also told me that they confided in her that they wish they could send my brother to military or boarding school in the future because they can't handle the monster they created anymore. But there's no way they can afford that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it ironically funny. Which honestly, so that's the end of the story. So in my opinion, I really don't blame them. That is pretty funny how that happened. But so from what it sounds like, your parents are complete assholes. They don't understand what you wanted and that it was completely unfair. And your brother turned out to be a spoiled little brat. Finally, by the time that you moved out, it sounded like they were learning their fucking lesson and learning that they should not really be choosing favorites. You should never choose a favorite. And if you pick a favorite, don't treat your child differently, parents. Listen, parents, future parents, all that, don't pick favorites. You will seem like a very bad parent. If you do pick favorites, don't make it obvious. Don't treat your kids different. Treat them the exact same that you always have. Yeah, that's the end of this story. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. My mom thinks she's entitled to my prostitute money. Hi everyone, I originally posted this in another sub, but it was suggested it would fit here. So for the last couple of years, I have worked as a dancer at a well-known gentleman's club. It's quite high-end and security is very good. A customer only has to say something we don't like and they would get kicked out. It's actually a lot of fun, and when it's a good night, the tips are great and I managed to save a decent amount of money. I didn't tell my mom where I was working, as I knew exactly what her reaction would be. Unfortunately for me, about a year and someone she had come to the club and spotted me there. Of course, it didn't take long to get back to her. She hit the roof, called me everything you could think of, including a prostitute, and then kicked me out. I stayed with a friend for about a week until I managed to secure an apartment and decided to get on with my life. I am making enough to support myself quite comfortably. I guess my mom found all of this out from my sister, and she realized I was making decent money because out of nowhere she calls me to demand money. No hello or how are you, but I apparently owe her more for letting me live at home. I did pay rent while I was living at home, although I probably could have paid more considering I was earning quite a bit, but I didn't want to raise suspicious and gave my mom what was asked of me. Also, since previously post, my mom has got my sister on board to try and get me to hand over some money. I still don't think I owe her anymore. You know, I agree with this. I really do. It's your mom's fault. She shouldn't have kicked you out. It's her own fault. Sounds like your mom's a complete Karen. Your mom's a Karen. I don't want to sound like an a-hole. Ragnar's 85. If you ever see this video. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that one. That was a short one. It's pretty good. That wasn't bad. I liked the story. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, so here's another short one. My biological dad's wife opened a Credit Karma account in my name. So she's got with my dad, she's fine everything to make my life a living hell. I got blamed for everything. I was apparently a bad kid, even though all I did was go to school and work and sit in my room. And now apparently I'm the devil in disguise. She was always jealous of the relationship I had with my dad, who liked to SA me, and I was apparently the reason for every shitty thing that happened in her life. I have her and my dad blocked on everything after learning I'm pregnant. Today I went to check my credit score because apparently someone posted an eviction notice in my account. The apartment I live in now is the only one I have ever moved into, and it's preventing my fiance and I from getting an apartment. Turns out she had created an account in my name that I could not access, so I posted a rant on Facebook about how much I fucking hate her. And I know she's gonna see it through a fake account and play the victim. Here's the edit. Thank you all so much for the feedback. I am going to look into filing a report tomorrow, and if there are any updates, I will let you know. I am also going to look into getting a new SSN social security number, if possible, so that even if nothing comes from the police report, she can't use my social security number anymore. Well then, that's fraud. That is big time fraud. She can get arrested, get years in prison, if not, yeah, definitely prison, because it's identity theft. Oh my god, I can't pronounce. Sorry for the stuttering and everything in these stories, guys. I suck at reading. I try. And the reason why I'm looking right here at this building is because I thought I saw someone. So, yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the next story. Here's another short story. Sorry, entitled Mom, Dad, and Younger Brother, I refuse to play Happy Family, and no contact means no contact. I, 26F, moved out in late December 2021, and for my emotional health, I cut off contact with my family. For context, I cut off my parents due to them turning into religious fanatics and trying to push their beliefs onto me. And the last straw was when they had caused an emotional event where they tried to throw out some stuff that my late older brother left for me to always remember him, by anime graphic tees and Polaroid photo album of the good time we both had together. And their excuse was, "That is diabolical," or "It's time to let the dead be dead." Mind you, this was their eldest son we are talking about, and they are acting as if he was the worst person on earth. He wasn't. I even cut off my younger brother, 22 male, due to him becoming a verbally and emotional abusive. The only one with who I had contact was my SIL 28 girl, F, for the sake of my nephew, and she begged me to get help since she saw that I looked affected. I took her advice and decided to attend therapy, and in a few sessions, I noticed how toxic my family was and even ignored all the red flags. Everything was going great until I got a WhatsApp notification from a group that was created. It was my parents and younger brother telling me that 5 months were enough for no contact, and that I had a lot to do to reconcile with the family and try to keep the peace. I read the messages many times, and I answered back saying that while I love them and there is no hate in my heart, I can't go back in contact with the people that damaged my emotional health for them to feel better about themselves, and that I am not willing to play happy family, and that my emotional health is much more important than anything. Before any of them could reply, I got out of the group chat and blocked their numbers. My friends, family, my mom's coworkers, and my boyfriend, 28 mil, have said that I am brave for doing this, and that I should always put myself first and not let anyone walk all over me. I guess is good to finally feel free. Well then, I agree. High five, great job. I'm proud of you. That's amazing. I don't think I'd have the balls to be able to do that. If you guys are enjoying this, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, comment down what you guys want to see next. I might do another r/ besides this. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop into another one. Alright, so this one's called, my mom gave me up for $2,500. So backstory to when my mom and dad split up when I was roughly 9 to 10 years old. Due to my mother cheating on my father when he was out of the country, he's a pilot at the time, it was me and my older 2 sisters, one of which was already an adult. So my other sister and I were left under my mother's custody due to my father always flying and not wanting us to go through moving all the time. As far as the details go, my dad not only paid my mom child support, but also paid off the house despite having little money to take care of himself. He paid my mom more than what he actually owed. Yet my sister and I never saw the money. After the divorce, my mom turned to many things, sleeping around, gambling, drinking, eventually meth. Though that didn't last long due to my dad finding out and threatening to take us away, my sister practically became my mother since Iris decided to step down from the plate, and I was too young to take care of myself. When my sister left for college, all the emotional abuse she took ended up falling on me, which sent me into a loop. Due to my sister taking all of the damage, I typically saw my mother as, well, my mother. My young brain didn't notice how often she didn't come home at night, or the lack of food in the house, or the constant weeks I'd wear one outfit since I didn't have other clothes that fit. I didn't notice how not normal this is. Heading into high school, it became more and more obvious that this wasn't right at all. Yet I still loved my mother. We bantered and ate fast food together, and she was proud of my accomplishments. But she had her moments, dropping huge hints that I'm too boyish like my dad, refusing to let me cut my hair, pressuring me into wearing makeup, heels, dresses, convincing me I don't need therapy as my therapist at the time made me uncomfortable. One of those Christian therapists that made everything about God. While I am a Christian, it didn't help the conversation, and so on. Meanwhile, my dad met a woman and they fell in love. When she became pregnant with his kid, he moved here to America after my little sister was born and started a new family. I love my stepmom. She's literally the sweetest woman I know. And I adore my baby sister and eventually my second baby sister. Over time, after spending my nights in their home, I came to realize how much happier I was at their house over my mother's. One day I told my dad I want to officially live with him. At this point in time, I've noticed how depressed I am and how things aren't normal in my mom's house. When I told my mother this, she was deeply upset and cried, but she understood, or so I thought. That's when everything went downhill. Text messages started, sly guilt trips, and remarks on how someone else convinced me to move out. That my father convinced me she was the bad guy. The more these texts happened, the worrier I became while talking to her. It got to the point where I would cry after every conversation because I was so confused and lost. One day she practically trapped me in her car in my best friend's driveway to tell me how my reasons for leaving her were bullshit. And that I clearly don't remember that it was like in that house. Cue my memory issues. But enough about that, let's get to the good part. The custody case, due to me being the last child between my mother and father, my dad no longer had to pay child support. Obviously they go to court about this. Except my mom didn't show up for many hearings. When she did, she had this bullshit story about how my dad owed her a shitload of money because he never paid the full child support. How she felt pressure to believe him and trust him when he said he knew how much he owed her. He did. He calculated himself and actually paid more than what was needed. So if you're catching on, this fight was about money. Here's a fun little thing. My mom texted me maybe a month before this case started about how she desperately wants me to come home, how she will do anything to get her baby back. That aged well, didn't it? Because one day my mom stated that if my dad pays her $2,500, she will give up full custody of me. My dad agreed to it, and it was over. She gave up her custody rights for $2,500. It still stings. I'm still bitter and angry to this day about it. And this case happened years ago. I don't think my mom is aware I know the details on this case, as she very rarely reaches out to me, as if we still have a relationship, to tell me how much she loves and misses me. The thing is, I learned that my mom actually despised me after the divorce because I reminded her of my dad. We have the same eyes and resting face, lol. My mom just loves being the victim, and even tried to convince my sister she doesn't remember doing all the stuff she did to us. She even blamed my dad for her cheating on him and said to my face, I haven't had a real conversation with her since Christmas, over the phone of course, and haven't seen her in person since maybe before the pandemic. She texted me recently all excited about a gift she got for my sister's unborn baby, and it sent a whole new wave of resentment towards her. I stopped trying long ago to have a relationship with her, as she doesn't try in return and will continue to do so until she admits her wrongs, apologizes, and actually tries to be a fucking mother for once in her life. Until then, my only mother is my lovely stepmom. Alright, so in my opinion, your mom's a bitch. Just to make it short, your dad seems to be better, but, I mean, considering how your mom acts like she cares, which obviously she doesn't, she's gonna end up realizing that she lost a perfectly nice person and realizing how much damage she caused you. But that's all I have to say, so let's go ahead and hop into the next one because we only have a few minutes. Am I wrong for tell my parents that I am booking an Airbnb with my boyfriend? So for some context, 21 female and my 24 male boyfriend are in a long distance relationship, and he wanted to come see me. I live with my parents and they aren't the best when it comes to me talking about my love life with them, so I tend not to share too much with them. However, I started dating my boyfriend Matt for about 4.5 months, and we have known each other for about a year prior. The detail for the Airbnb were that me and my brother got and picked him, and went and got and picked him up, and we bring to meet my parents, and then we leave to spend the week together, doing the stuff we planned. I told my mother and father about 3 months prior to this. My dad's reaction was, "Don't come crying to me when he breaks your heart." When I explained to my mom my plans, she didn't take it too well either, and told me, what did I want her to do about it? And it eventually led to a big fight between us, so I went to stay by my aunt's house. And after explaining the details to them, they told I wasn't wrong for what I'm doing and how I'm handling it. They also asked if they could see a picture and talk to him as well, and all went well with them, and they expected him. Fast forward to today, my parents are having second thoughts because I remind of my plans with Matt. We had another argument about it, and I ended up staying at my aunt again. My mother and father both threatened to call Uncle, who's a cop, and make me tell him everything, so I did. After explaining to him the details and the situation, he told me that I'm handling this right, and he would talk to my parents to see why they were so upset. Edit, my aunt also asked if, just for their own well-being, is it okay if we stay the first night at her home, and then we can go to our Airbnb, which is totally fine. Edit 2, thank you guys so much for the concern and advice. I talked with my mom earlier today, and she said that she is willing to give it a chance since my aunt offered for us to stay with her, and as well until we decide to go to the Airbnb, and also it's 30 minutes away from our house. My brother is also joining us for some, not all of our dates planned. Lastly, my father hasn't talked to me, but this isn't the first time he has acted this way towards me. Anytime we go into a fight or arguments, he verbally abused both my brother and I, and also my mother. Some examples would be, you act like a white bitch, or go out and crash your car into a highway, and things like that, which is why I choose not to share so much with him. Well then, that's quite interesting, to say the least. In the end, your mom came to terms realizing, hey, I'm in the wrong. I'm gonna quit being a petty little witch, and realizing, hey, I love my daughter, let's give them a chance. While your dad's still being a petty little douche and doesn't know how to handle the fact that you're in love with your boyfriend. But anyways, that's all I have to say. I'm sure that there'll be another one to this. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see next. I will more than likely do some more stories like this. Sorry for the stuttering and stuff like that. This took so long to edit. I'm tired, I'm hungry, I want to eat, I want to sleep, I need something to drink. Not to mention, I just suck at reading in general. These stories were great. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, stories were great, everything. I really don't know what else to say, except for the fact that I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you guys can help me get that, that'd be freaking amazing, man. Other than that, if you guys want more stuff like this, let me know down below. Or if you guys have any other r/other things that you guys want me to do, let me know. I really don't know what else to say. But other than that, yeah, that's really about it. I hope you guys enjoyed and enjoyed the rest of me kicking this boss's ass. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.